Hi there, Laura Wilson from Gold Star Work here. Today we are on day 23 of our Building a Daily Art Habit. Now I'm showing you these two pictures that we've done over the last few days because I wanted to compare the apples and the pears because I've used a different painting method for both of them. So in the apples here, I've done glazing and it's a very kind of smooth look. And in this one of the pears, I've used a lot thicker paint and shown my brush strokes. And I wanted to see which style I preferred. And when I stand back and look at them, to me the pears have a lot more life and impact, and I prefer that kind of style. So I'm going to have another go today, and this time I'm going to be doing some grapes, and I might try and push that painterly effect even further. We'll see how it turns out in the end. So let's go and get painting. So here's my still life all set up. This is what I'm going to be painting today. I think it's going to be approximately this angle here. And I've put my light at the top this time, up here, shining down on my painting. So that I can get some good shadow effects and light shining on the grapes. So I spent a bit of time taking some photos and seeing which angle I preferred for these grapes, and I decided on approximately this angle is going to be my preferred angle. So first of all, I'm going to put in my coloured ground. And I'm using a raw sienna deep this time. And I want my drawing to show through. A quick sketch of the grapes, and I didn't do all the individual grapes, I did the basic shape of the grapes, of the bunch of grapes. So I've spent some time mixing up my colours. And I may use all of them or not, I'll just wait and see. And first off, I'm just going to quickly roughen the background. Now I looked at a few videos on how to paint grapes before I started, and there seemed to be two methods that people basically preferred. One of them was to draw the individual grapes in to make your shape first, and then paint the individual grapes and then the space around them. And the other one was the method that I'm going to be using, that seemed to be quite popular, was making the whole shape of the bunch of grapes and then picking out the grapes in between. So it was interesting when I was looking on YouTube that the only ones that I found that were doing this kind of method were actually oil painters rather than acrylic painters. The acrylic painters were all doing individual grapes, but for the style that I want to do, I think this is going to work a lot better. But just because it's an oil painting video, it doesn't mean you can't use it. It will still translate well depending on the method that they're using for acrylic paint as well. So have just when you're watching the videos, don't just immediately dismiss any that are for oil painting, especially if there's wet on wet. That often suits acrylic painting as well. Sometimes you have to do the method a little bit different, just because oil paints stay wet a lot longer than acrylic painting does. But that doesn't mean you can't use some of the methods. And there wasn't any one particular one that I was looking at, so I can't sort of say, oh, this is definitely who I was watching. It was just a whole lot of different ones that I had a look at and decided that this kind of method was going to suit what I wanted to achieve. Realised I took my grey down onto my tabletop, but that doesn't matter. Just going to paint the shadow in a little bit here in the darker colour, because the shadow in this painting is quite pronounced. And I may adjust that once I get the grapes in properly, but it's just going to help me for now. So I'm going to draw and I'm going to paint in the basic shape of my bunches of grape here. And then I'm going to just fill in the whole thing. So I've used not my darkest colour, but a fairly dark colour for what I want my grapes to be, because I want the lights to stand out and I want to be able to do some darks as well. So I'm not putting any details in, I'm not being too fussy about any of the shapes or anything. I'm just getting the basic idea in. So I've gone through and just with some chalk I've put in where I think the highlights might be on some of the foreground grapes. And I'm just going to use some white paint and paint those in. Then I'm going to come in with the colour under the grapes, because as the light's shining through the grape, it makes this lovely glow underneath where the light's shining through the grape. Now, I may want to intensify this colour later on, but I'm just going to start with this one, see how I go. So I've added a little bit more of the cad red light in there just to intensify that colour a bit because I was having trouble seeing it. So I'm going in with a darker colour on the top of these now. Suggesting those background grapes that are all in shadow there. good start on my grapes. I'm going to finish up now and go and have my lunch because it's 1:30 already. The time just flies when you're busy painting. And so happy painting everyone, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.